fiction, so tune in. Meanwhile, there's been a push for a National Integrity Commission, but on the sidelines of that, Labor is questioning about what's happening with the Australian National Audit Office, in particular the funding. Joining me live now is Labor MP Julian Hill, who's been looking into this. So, analysis on funding. We've seen an efficiency dividend across departments. So I know you're saying there might have been a funding of up to 20% if you compare the start to the end, but does that factor in efficiency dividends that have been happening right across departments?
Yeah, so that's the total impact. The Parliamentary Library did some research which was commissioned by me and released this week, which shows that since the government's been elected, in real terms, if you plug in CPI every year, there's been a funding cut of nearly 20% in real terms to the Audit Office. That takes in all the efficiency dividends. And we've had the Prime Minister and the Treasurer since the budget running around trying to hose this down, telling us it's just a minor cut, there's nothing to see here. But I think this research blows out of the water their claims that this is anything but a deliberate, calculated policy to silence the independent watchdog that's exposing their rorts, waste and corruption.
So the Audit Office asked for $6.5 million around the audit of that to continue at least at the 42 performance audits a year. That wasn't granted. What's interesting, though, is for all Labor's been talking about the lack of funding, you won't commit to putting the money back in. It's a tiny amount of money compared to other spending commitments. Why wasn't this part of Anthony Albanese's budget and reply speech?
You're absolutely right. It's a small amount of money, and the fact that we're having this conversation, I think, shows this is not about money. It's about a deliberate, calculated attack. They're racking up $1 trillion of debt. Government spending is at the highest level since World War II. Now's the very time when taxpayers should expect more auditing, not less. Now, the Auditor-General, for the first time in years, went to the Prime Minister before the budget and said, I need that $6.5 million to get me back on a path to get to the 48 performance audits a year, which has been the long-standing bipartisan target of performance audits. Instead, what he got was a cut.
But why not just say, yeah, we'll restore that money too?
Well, Anthony Albanese mentioned that in his budget reply, and we'll go through our process.
But he hasn't committed to going, yep, there's the money, that will be there. If we get into power, we won't shy away from audits. I mean, again, I agree, it's a tiny amount of money compared to what the government's spending, but also what Labor's committing to.
Well, I've got a private member's motion, which I'm hoping will be debated next Parliamentary Monday, where we'll be able to talk further about this, as well as other ideas to strengthen the independence of the Auditor-General. But make no mistake, the government could fix this now. It's $6.5 million. There's no excuse. The Finance Minister has billions sitting there. They could fix this, but it's not in their political interest to have more of their rorts, waste and corruption exposed. Sports rorts, airport land rorts, Cartier watches, ASIC, all of these things are coming from the work of the independent watchdog amidst their refusal to introduce a National Integrity Commission.
Just wanted to ask briefly as well, obviously you're away from Melbourne at the moment. Good to see the restrictions eased. What did you make of the PM yesterday? There was praise for Victorians, but he said the lockdowns themselves are a sign of failure. That's true, isn't it, in terms of what the Victorian government's managed compared to the rest of the nation?
Victorians have done good work, and I'm incredibly proud of my state. I was talking to family and friends, and you can sense in 24 hours the psychological relief and that sense of hope. My staff this morning rang me and said they want to go down the pub for a beer for half an hour. I said, calm down, it's still a serious situation. But I think yesterday what we needed, what Victorians deserved, was a moment of national unity. Albo was right to move that motion. He spoke well. The Prime Minister, I'd give kind of 5 or 6 out of 10. There was a lot of fake backhanders and sort of fake niceness. But the Treasurer's speech appalled me. When we really needed a moment and deserved a moment of national unity and positive reflection, I think he misread the room and he misread the mood of Victorians. I posted something on Facebook about it and my phone lit up with people bagging that negativity.
Got to leave it there.